Cordyceps is a genus of fungi that parasitizes certain types of insects. According to the plot of the game, this type of dispute managed to evolve and begin to spread to people. This is what led to a massive pandemic. Cordyceps, which enters the human body through the inhalation of fungus spores, blood or saliva of the infected, causes irreversible changes in the human body, causing the victim to lose his mind and turning him into a kind of zombie. Such a dangerous and deadly organism led to the complete collapse of world civilization, destroying almost the entire population of the planet. 20 years after the outbreak of the epidemic, some of the surviving residents of the United States live in separate zones, fenced off from the rest of the world by high walls. The military day and night maintain order, sometimes by radical measures, eliminating any threat to a peaceful and civilized life. In other cases, it is an inhospitable world with huge stone ruins, which during all this time have managed to become covered with dense thickets. Inside the wreckage of a former civilization, it is still possible to get infected by airborne droplets, but such places have become much smaller. Nevertheless, this does not mean at all that it has become safer behind the impregnable walls of the colonies. Cordyceps are spores that do not immediately overtake a person. They creep into his head, grow, gradually capturing his mind. All this continues until a person ceases to control his body, and even to understand that he is a person. The mutation of a fungus inside its host can take a very, very long time. With each new day, this parasite is becoming more dangerous and tenacious, trying as much as possible to adapt to the environment. Runners are the least dangerous infected, but the most common. He does not possess any extraordinary abilities. The main task of this creature is to infect as many living organisms as possible so that Cordyceps continues to spread. Those runners who manage to live long enough eventually become stalkers, a more dangerous version of the infected. The only difference between the two stages is that the stalker is more aggressive, attentive, has much more outstanding physical data, and, what is also important, is able to ambush his victim. When you hear nearby sounds that resemble continuous clicking, remember one thing: do not run. From the mere mention of these creatures, even experienced researchers' blood runs cold. The nutcrackers are so disgusting and dangerous. Having lost their sight, they acquired a keen hearing capable of detecting anyone who makes the slightest rustle nearby. Just one bite will be enough to immediately kill your potential victim. The last stage in the evolution of Cordyceps, the inhabitants of the post-apocalyptic world, is called the flesh. There are several reasons for this. Firstly, at this stage of the mutation, the infected almost ceases to look like a person. From head to toe it is covered with growths of a deadly fungus. Secondly, thanks to such changes, the snag is able to withstand more than a dozen shots. And thirdly, even after the death of the host, the fungus continues to live. The body of the infected grows into almost any surface, continuing to spread harmful spores through the air. The outbreak of the epidemic was just an excuse for people to start killing each other. Following the civilized world, the norms of morality that have been established over all these long years have sunk into oblivion. Cordyceps, infected, lack of supplies, this is just an excuse that people use, committing atrocities against their species. It is still the most dangerous organism on Earth, because, unlike the infected, people kill their own kind without a twinge of conscience. During all this time, many groups have arisen throughout the United States, which have united due to common views and the desire to survive. Groups of people like the hunters who rob hapless travelers, or ordinary bandits, smugglers and other cream of society bring nothing to this crazy world but new madness and even more violence. Having taken possession of territories outside the quarantine zones, they live by murder and robbery, justifying their deeds with phrases like either we are them, or they are us, or not at all. There are those who are trying to stop this chaos. Revolutionaries who do not agree with the decisions taken by the military in the territories of quarantine zones. Their protests and acts of terrorism throughout the United States caused a strong reaction among the population, thereby enlisting the support of residents of the safe zones. They called themselves the cicadas, and their main task is to find a vaccine. In order to achieve their goal, the cicadas are ready to take drastic measures. Sometimes their actions do not differ from those of ordinary bandits. However, they always get away with it, thanks to their higher goals. The main command center is St. Mary's Hospital in Salt Lake City, but the group's militants are scattered throughout the country. Throughout the game, Joel and Ellie will clash with this seemingly noble faction more than once. It was a short video into the world of post-apocalypse from Naughty Dog for those who are not familiar with this world that enchants with its cruelty, but also a refresher for the old-timers. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, write your comments, we will discuss it there. Good luck to all.